All right, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin. This is Smell Goods. Listen, appreciate you stopping by. Hope you're having an amazing day. Appreciate you taking your time out of your day just to watch this video and get some additional information to help you as we are all working to stay safe, stay sane, and we're all definitely working to smell good. All right, so I've got for you, as far as today's video, I have 10 fragrances from my collection that are perfect for this time of year, especially as we are in late fall, beginning to move into that winter where it gets really nice and cold. Depending upon where you are, again, that's relative. Where I am, cold is 60 degrees. Where you are, cold, and where I grew up, cold might be negative 20 degrees. Get it? But I definitely want to give you some fragrances that definitely work within this late fall, early winter time frame. But here's the thing. I want to give you the ones that have a prominent vanilla note, that have a note that I think is just perfect for this time of year. First one up, without further ado, we're going to jump into the first one, and that is Invictus Victory Elixir. Let me give you the V there. So this one, you've got some lavender up top. So this is it's a sweet and spicy type of fragrance. Definitely off of that line. You've got some incense and patchouli in there. So just a little hint of some earthiness, but then it dries down with that vanilla tonka bean. This is one that to me was just a little too much to wear during the summer, just because my summers are very, very hot. But this is really a fragrance that depending upon your climate, could probably work year round, but I think it really finds its home, especially in these cooler months, because that vanilla and that tonka bean, especially on the dry down, to me just works really well, and really just makes its presence known and makes you known in there. Pretty good, decent longevity, decent sillage, decent projection off of this. Nothing major, not a beast mode fragrance, but definitely one that definitely works for this time of year. And you could definitely get that vanilla coming through. And I realize I'm saying definitely or not, but it does. All right, that was Invictus Victory Elixir. Oh, let the light catch it. Perfect. All right. So the next one up I've got for you is by the House Lattafra, and this is Camera. This right here, or as my wife calls it, y'all know, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, that cinnamon up top, the nutmeg up top, but you've got dates and praline in this. You've got that heavy vanilla at the bottom there with the amber and with some tonka. This right here is, in my opinion, just a sweet, sexy fragrance that works really in those cooler days, those cooler evenings, if you will. This was, I think, the most times that I've worn this has been on our date nights. I remember we went to this nice little African restaurant here, went on Valentine's Day weekend earlier this year, and it was projecting off of me well, and it was a good night. And this did have something to do with it. I think this is a fragrance, projection, sillage, longevity, all of those things worked very well. And as we're getting back into the cooler months, this has been macerating on my shelf for a couple of months now. So I'm expecting that this has probably gotten even better than when I first started wearing it. But definitely, if you're looking for something in the fall and winter, especially those cold date nights, but you want to heat them up, get them spicy, Camera by the House of Lattafra is definitely going to be one I might recommend for you. All right, next one up I got for you is Stronger With You Intensely by the House of Armani. There we go. All right, so this one right here starts off with pink pepper and juniper in the top. You got toffee in there and cinnamon in the middle, but then at the base you've got that vanilla, you've got that you've got amber, you've got, what else? I think you've got tonka in this as well. This right here, just another sexy date night fragrance, but it doesn't have to be date night. It's not an office scent. Well, you wear it where you want to wear it. For me, it's not an office scent. It's not something that I would wear to my office. I'm not going to waste it on the folks there. This is something that definitely I want to be intentional about when I wear this, but also have something, as far as just a nice, cool evening. This to me is more of an evening scent than a daytime scent. But this is the reformulated version. I'm not sure how different it is from the original version, but as a vanilla scent for these cool and cooler months, this definitely works very well for you. Stronger With You Intensely by Armani. All right, next one up is a newer one into my collection. And this one This is one that I think could work daytime or evening time. It's got a prominent vanilla note, but when it dries down into something that turns into this vanilla, leathery, musky type of a scent. And we're talking about MANARA's Gold Prestigium. Like I said, this is a newer one in the collection. Just got it not too long ago. I have had an opportunity to test it out a few times, and this it's a wonderful scent. This opens up it's this mix of florals with vanilla and leather, and there is a very slight hint of oud in it. But this right here, reason I brought this into this talk here is just because if you're wanting something that is more of a that could work whether it's daytime or nighttime, but definitely still works within that winter time frame. I think this is a great one that you can have. This can be an office scent. This can be one that you wear day, night, brunch, dinner date, whatever it may be. It just has that type of a thing. Again, it starts off with some florals. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what it starts off with. I want to say jasmine, but don't quote me on that. But I definitely know that down at the bottom, when it gets dried down, you are left with this vanilla, leather, musky type of a scent that just works beautifully. And yes, projection, it's MANARA, so projection definitely there. Longevity definitely there. I was getting 10, 12 hours off of this in the 2 or 3 times that I've worn this. Again, we are talking MANARA's Gold Prestigium. Maybe a little hard to find. You can find, check the discounters, what have you. I don't know that it's sold officially in the US anymore, but this definitely is something that I think you might want to add to your collection, especially if you're a fan of MANARA like I am. All right, so the next one, if you've been around my channel any length of time, you know that I could not do this list without having this somewhere in my ranking. And again, this isn't a ranking. This is just me kind of giving some fragrances that fit the bill. But this one we're talking about is, you got that crazy bottle presentation. We've got Eternal Oud by Lattafa. Listen, this starts off with plum up top, and it definitely has that amber, that vanilla. This is in the mold, or in the model, if you will, of MFK's Grand Soir. Does a pretty bang up job of being a clone cover remix of that. And I wore this. The first day it turned where our high was only going to be like 70 degrees here, which to us is definitely fall. That first day I threw this on, I think when it started off that morning, it was like 45, 50 degrees. So I definitely threw it on. And when I tell you, the name tells you how long it lasts, Eternal Oud, this thing was on me all day, all night, and even into the morning before I took my shower in the morning. This will just last. It still lasts on clothes. An amazing scent. Definitely one that if you're talking about winter fragrances that have a nice vanilla note in them, this is definitely going to be one of them, and one that I highly recommend from my list. Anytime I'm in Burlington, if I see someone trying to decide between this and, let's say, Nautical Voyage or Captain America, they're definitely getting the recommendation for Eternal Oud. All right, next one up on the list is, you've got it from French Avenue. This is Liquid Brune. French Avenue, which is also a house of Fragrance World. This right here is my favorite pickup of my recent pickups. I got this maybe, as of the filming of this, maybe 3 weeks ago. I know I've worn it a few times. In fact, we had a birthday party for one of my friends. His wife was turning 50, and so we went and we celebrated. My wife was like, "What are you wearing?" This was what I was wearing. This was definitely that fragrance for it. Starting off with cinnamon, you've got pralines in there. You've got bourbon vanilla, and you can definitely pick up the booziness of the bourbon vanilla. But this right here is just a great fragrance. French Avenue, Fragrance World, they did their thing with this one. As the older folks would say, they put their foot in it. This one right here is a beast. It performs very well, projects very well. Not an expansive room filler, but definitely enough where you're noticed, enough that people know that you've been in the room, enough that people who are coming behind you pick up that scent trail. This is definitely it, and definitely something that, if we're talking vanilla fragrances for these cold winter nights and days ahead, this one is going to be the one that you definitely want to make sure is in your collection as well, and that is Liquid Brune by French Avenue, also known as Fragrance World. All right, next one up in this list that we're putting together for you is Amouage Intense by Lattafa. This is their clone cover remix cousin, if you will, of By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela Replica. This one, now this is not a strong, prominent vanilla. This is a woody scent that has a smoky vanilla scent or note lingering and kind of wafting in through there. So that's definitely one that I wanted to include because of that. It's not heavily vanilla, so this isn't going to be sweet like your stronger with you Intensely's or your Camras. This is going to be more woody, but also more of a smoky vanilla that just kind of rides in there. And this definitely, again, works very well for cold winter nights. This could even be, because it's not, in my opinion, it's not an overly sweet fragrance. This could probably work as a daytime scent as well. So this could be your office scent that you might wear to work, or when you're just going around, but you want something that's going to have a little heft to it, but also provide you that balance of what you're looking for, especially from having a note of a fragrance having some vanilla in it. But again, it balances it out with that woodiness, because there's oud, I think, in the top and in the bottom of this. And I forget I think there's another wood that's in there as well as I want to say jasmine. I can't remember. But this right here, definitely for the winter months, winter days, nights that you may be facing. This is something definitely you want to include in your potential list. Amouage Intense by the House of Lattafa. All right, next one up on this list that I'm providing to you is going to be one that I don't know that I've talked about a whole lot as far as any videos so far, but definitely is one that I got it earlier this year, got it right before we started going into the summer months. And so it did kind of sit on my shelf. The one or two times that I did wear it definitely worked very nicely for kind of the banquet situation that, if I remember correctly, I was going into, especially because of what it is doing its take on. I am talking about by the House of Maison Alhambra, which is also a Lattafa brand. I'm talking about Kismet, which is their take, their clone, their cover, their remix, their cousin of Tuxedo by Yves Saint Laurent. Now this, you've got woods up top and everything, but in the bottom there is vanilla and there's vetiver. And so because when it dries down, you get that sweetness of the vanilla, but the earthiness of that vetiver. And I think there's some patchouli in there as well as there's a coffee note kind of wafting through there. This, as far as now, I've not put nose on Tuxedo, so I can't tell you if it's a one-to-one. Other reviewers that I've watched and have paid attention to kind of say that it's probably the closest of the clones, covers, remixes. But as a scent, how does it work on its own? I'm going to tell you, this is a very nice, very beautiful scent. Not an overly sweet scent, but it is a sweet. There is a sweetness that is in here that just kind of merges well with some of that earthiness with the patchouli and the vetiver. So and the freshness, if you will. This right here it's not something that's going to give you beast mode performance, but it is something that is, especially for those date nights, those formal nights, those nights where you're trying to make an impression, where the fragrance is only going to need to last for a few hours. You're not trying to have it last through 15 hours of the club. This is definitely a fragrance that I think will work for that, and definitely for the price point, you're going to get your bang, your value out of it. All right. Again, this is Kismet by the House of Maison Alhambra, which is also a Lattafa brand. All right, and the last one is one that I've added to the list just because there's a vanilla scent through it, a vanilla note flowing through it, but I wanted something that was going to give maybe a little different vibe. A lot of these are very nice, either very sweet, very intentional date night type of fragrances. I think I gave you one or two that might work well for the office area. but and then some that are just going to be just nice fragrances that kind of take that vanilla and twist it a little. But I wanted to include this one just because I don't think a vanilla list could be complete without at least mentioning it. And we're talking about 9 p.m. by the House of AFNAN. This is their take on JPG's Ultramal. And this right here, so it's not a, this does the vanilla in such a way where it's the sweetness, it's almost, I want to say a bubblegummy type of sweetness, just because of all the other things in there with like the apple, the cinnamon, and the bergamot. But this right here is, it's, this is a great fragrance that if I were younger, I'd probably wear this a whole lot. Do I wear this? Yep, I do wear it occasionally. But to me, this is a young man's fragrance. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, to me, a young man's fragrance just because of how it comes off. But it is something that I'll still put my nose on, still wear, and still break out, especially during these cooler months. This doesn't work for me in the summertime. It just feels very cloying. It just feels very, y'all know what I'm saying. It's kind of like that. It doesn't really work well for 115-degree weather. But now that we're getting down into those cooler months, this is something that I'll probably wear out a little more. And I'm sure my son will help me wear it out some more too. All right. But we're talking about 9 p.m. by AFNAN. All right. And the last one, because I almost forgot, I was going to give you 10. I was about to cut it off at 9. But let me give you your 10th one. And that is by the house of, or by the designer of, let's just say, Mercedes-Benz. We have Club Black. So this is, this really could almost be Altair before Altair existed. Still does it a little differently than Altair, does it a little differently than Liquid Brune. But this is that vanilla benzoin. You've got, what else? You've got some incense in there. This, I was looking forward to getting this. I got it. I'm wearing it. Haven't put a whole huge dent in it, but definitely it is being worn as we're moving to these cooler and cold months. This to me is a very intentional fragrance as well. This is a date night fragrance. This is a night out fragrance. This is a going to an event type of a fragrance. This isn't for me a daytime fragrance. This is definitely solidly in the evening time for me. Or if it's a daytime, it's a Saturday, it's a Sunday, where it's going to bleed into that evening time. So this definitely is a great fragrance that you can pick these up pretty reasonably. And again, I recommend, just because it seems to have been discontinued, I definitely recommend picking it up so you can have yourself a bottle of this going forward. And again, we're talking about Mercedes-Benz Club Black. All right, so that is my list. I think I've given you 10 fragrances of vanilla fragrances that work very well for these cool and colder weeks and months that we have coming ahead. But let me know if there's something that should be on the list that maybe isn't on the list. Maybe I don't have it, or maybe I didn't think about it as far as a vanilla scent. Let me know in the comments what your vanilla scent for the winter months would be. And then, as always, I simply ask, if you made it this far, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, request notifications, and share. That way you are notified of anytime I put out new lists or new reviews that we're putting out on this channel. Again, I appreciate you stopping by. Have a great one. We'll see you next time. Be blessed. Peace.